Hello and welcome to another episode of That Fabric Guy. My name is Bas Land, and like every other week, this week I will be teaching you a new topic on Microsoft Fabric. And today we're going to look at the Azure Storage Explorer, which is an application on Windows and macOS that you can use to find out your data in OneLake. It is originally created to browse your blob storage accounts in Azure Blob Storage, but it can be used for OneLake as well, since OneLake is basically a blob storage account that is used inside Microsoft Fabric. Now, I'm running a MacBook, as you might know from earlier videos, but the Storage Explorer will be roughly the same between Windows and macOS. So this demo will be the same if you're running a Windows device. Now let's dive into my laptop to see what the Storage Explorer is and how you can use it to connect to your OneLake. Let's dive in. Okay, so here we are looking at my laptop screen. We are in the Fabric portal on the web browser, and we are currently navigated to a folder inside the files section of a Lakehouse. So I have a workspace called That Fabric Guy. In That Fabric Guy, I have a Lakehouse called Bronze. Within Bronze, we have tables and files. We are in the files section, and within the files section, I have a folder called landing. So we are in that landing folder right now. And in that landing folder, we see that there is one subfolder called TLC taxi data. And I want to browse that taxi data. I can click here and then go to any of the years, and then I find all these Parquet files. However, I want to see this TLC taxi data as a folder inside my Storage Explorer. So let's go to the Storage Explorer here. This is the Azure Storage Explorer that we can use to browse our OneLake or Azure Blob Storage accounts for that matter. If you look here, then in the Explorer section, we find that under the emulator storage accounts, we have attached quite a few blob containers already during other demos that I've done. So we click on the connection right there. We go to ADLS Gen 2 container or directory, and we will select sign in using Azure Active Directory. Now, mind you, if you have already signed in to an account, then that's fine. This will work. If you've not signed in, you will be prompted to do so. You can do that right here. And here we can select the account. If you have multiple accounts, then multiple accounts will be listed in here. And from here, we can find the tenant. And now I have a lot of tenants that I have access to with my account, but I'm looking at my home tenant right here. Then I need to put in a blob container or a directory URL. So let's find that URL of our Lakehouse right here. And we can do that by going into our landing zone by clicking on our taxi data folder in here and going to properties. Now the properties in here will give us a URL, and that URL, if we hover over it, will show us that it will end at TLC taxi data. So this is actually the URL that we're looking for. Now we can simply paste it in here, and the URL should look something like this: onelake.dfs.fabric.microsoft.com. That's all standard. That should be the same as what you guys have. Then we have the name of our workspace, the name of our Lakehouse, and then it is basically a folder structure. Now we can omit this folder structure right here. We can put it like that. However, for all intents and purposes, I am assuming that I want to go into this particular folder. So I will leave the folder name right here. And then we're going to call this the TLC _ taxi _ data. And this is to easily find the information that we're looking for. So we click next and we click connect. And there we are. Now here in the Object Explorer, we have our TLC taxi data, and we indeed see that we can now find all the folders and files that are in this Lakehouse, in this particular folder. Mind you, we can still navigate up into the, all the way into the Lakehouse, where we can even find the tables that are in this Lakehouse besides, and we can even browse into the workspace. I was looking at Bronze. Let me find that again. Bronze Lakehouse. There we are. Files, and then landing, and then we have our TLC taxi data again. So even though we put the URL on that particular subfolder, it will default to that subfolder, but we can browse up and down through that hierarchy. Now going here, we can easily open that folder. We can start looking at data from any year. I organize this data by year, and here you can find that we have a lot of Parquet files for every year that's in the data set. Now, if we want to work with these files locally, for whatever reason, we can do so, and we can simply download these files. We can open them. I mean, this is a Parquet file. We can not preview or open them locally, but we can definitely download these files to our local machine, to our laptops, in order to work with them. We can also put files in here quite easily. So if you have a lot of files on your laptop that you want to put into Microsoft Fabric, into your Lakehouse, do so through this Storage Explorer. That makes your life so much easier than going through the web browser and then that wizard that you need to go through. Just go in here, create a new folder and put all your files in. Then the files will be uploaded to Microsoft Fabric quite easily. Alright, this was a short video. I showed you how to work with the Azure Storage Explorer in order to explore the data that's in your Fabric Lakehouses. I hope you learned something today, and I really hope that you will give me a follow on YouTube, because that will signal YouTube algorithm that my content is valuable. I'll see you next week when I'll be teaching you about another topic on Microsoft Fabric. See you then.